Hello, everyone. I just wanted to check in and first remind you that if you're having trouble this unit, don't forget about Virtual Math Lab. It's available every single day. There's a time you can meet with me one-on-one every single day of the week, Monday through Friday. And there's also other math labs available that you're welcome to go to. Don't forget to go to helpful info in your classwork folder. So you just go to helpful info, need help, here's some resources. Wednesdays I'm on here from 12 to 12:30, and then you can, if you want to stop in between 12:30 and 2:30, just let me know. There's the link for that. Virtual Math Lab. Remember, I'm available 11:25 to 12 every day except Wednesday. Mr. Burgess and Miss Beasy as well, and they are happy to help. That's what they're for. All right, so let's get started. I think you're going to like today's lesson a lot better. It's a little bit easier. We're still going to be factoring trinomials, but we're going to use the calculator to help us even more and shorten this process. It's important that you have a calculator ready to go. So if you don't, please get your calculator ready. All right, so this will work if your a is 1. So if you just see x squared plus something x plus whatever number, as long as it's just an x squared and no number, this will work by using a graph. So in your calculator, you don't have to do anything with the box method. The first thing you're going to do is go to y equals in your calculator, and you're going to type in whatever the equation is. So why don't we just start with x squared plus 3x minus 40. Let's look at that example. All right, so we're just, whatever the example is that says factor, I know that I'm trying to figure out what it was before we multiplied. All right, you can use the table if you want in the box method, but this is a lot faster. So you're just going to go to y equals. We're going to get into a lot more graphing this year. So just type in the equation, x squared plus 3x minus 40. This is a great shortcut. All right, once that's in, you're just going to hit graph. All right, if you want to zoom out, you could, but basically what you're looking for is where it's hitting the x-axis. Those are called your x-intercepts. So we're just going to hit graph, and we're going to sketch the graph that we see, and we want to find the x-intercepts where it crosses the x-axis. So let's go back to it. Looks like it's here and here. It's kind of hard to count. It looks like on here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's basically going to be this shape. Now, if you can't tell what they are, go to the table. All right, go to the table and hit second graph. And what you'd be looking for in the table is where the y value is 0. We want to figure out what those x values are. So if I go to the table, like if I can't tell that that's 8, if I can't tell that's negative, but look, 5 times negative 8 would give us negative 40, just saying. It's not just a coincidence. But you can also find it from the table. So if we hit second graph, see how at negative 8 it's 0? And then if you scroll down in the table, see how it flips and starts to go back down, or go back up, Find that 0, 5. Either way, those are the two numbers we need. So now you're ready to write your answer. You just have to remember to change the sign. So basically, it's x plus 8 and x minus 5. All right, because negative 8 plus 8 gives you 0. 5 plus negative 5 gives you 0, and those are called zeros. So that's the only thing you need to remember with this method. Just change the signs. So again, you just typed it into y equals. Hit graph to see where it crosses. If you can't tell where it crosses, hit second graph to go to the table and find where the zeros are. All right, and then change the signs when you write them down. And that's all you have to do. All right, so let's try this next one. x squared. And again, you could do it out with the box method if you like that method, but this is a lot faster. Y equals x squared minus 3x minus 54. Take a look at the graph. All right, looks like 9 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 6. But let's double check it in the table. Let's go up. Yep, negative 6 is a 0, and 9 is a 0. So we're just going to sketch that graph. They're all this U shape. It's called a parabola. So negative 6 and 9. Again, if you got it from the table, if you couldn't tell, it was negative 6 and 9. Either way, when you go to write your answer, it's going to be x plus 6, x minus 9. All right. Same with this. There's no number in front of a squared. So I know it's going to be a plus a minus something. All right. So let's go to the calculator. Even though it's a different variable, we're still going to use x. All right. Remember, this button has all sorts of things to remind you. That's what you always use. X squared plus 19x plus 48. All right, let's see if we can see it in the graph. Remember, it's always that U shape. I'm only seeing it here, but I bet if we followed it down, it would end up this way. So it looks like negative 3. Think about what you'd multiply 48 by to get negative 3. Or go to the table and start looking. Negative 3. Oh, there it turns and starts to go back towards 0. And negative 16. Negative 3, negative 16. So when we put it in, it's going to be a plus 16 and a plus 3. You change the signs. And again, if you wanted to use your table, just find the x's where y equals 0. Don't forget to change the sign. There's your answer. All right, I'm going to pause it for a second. Go ahead and try number 3. Type it into your calculator. If you just watch these, it's not as useful as trying them on your own. Okay, how'd it go? Let's check. So we're going to go to y equals x squared plus 5x minus 50. All right, let's take a look at the graph. Ooh, it looks like negative 10 and 5, which makes sense because negative 10 times 5 is negative 50. Doesn't have to be perfect, so it hits at negative 10 and 5. Again, if you want to check it in your calculator, you can, but now when you write it in, think about what it would be. X plus 10, x minus 5. A lot easier than using that box method. But like I said, the box method always works. This method only works if there's no number in front of x squared. So when we get to number 6 here, we're going to have an issue. All right, let's try this one. Practice makes perfect. X squared, remember, use that X button every time. That's what the calculator recognizes. Minus X minus 12. Take a look at the graph. Negative 3 and 4. Again, it might be hard for you to see it, so just go to second graph. Take a look at the table. Negative 3 is a 0. And 4 is a 0. So I'm going to just put both down. All right, so it hits at negative 3 and 4. So my zeros are negative 3 and 4. So what makes them 0? C plus 3, right? Negative 3 plus 3. And C minus 4. Don't forget to change the signs. That's the only thing you got to remember. All right, let's do one more like that. Y equals x squared minus 10x plus 21. You really got to get used to using that calculator. I'm going to use it a lot this year. Oops, so if you looked at the table, I see a 0 is 3, so I bet it's 7, because 3 times 7 is 21. Yep. On the graph, 3 and 7. Again, that's called a parabola. We'll look at those later in the year. All right, so what's in our parentheses? X minus 3, x minus 7. Because again, these x-intercepts are what's called 0. It's what makes it equal 0. So think about when you're writing it here, what would you combine with 3 to make 0? 3 minus 3. And 7 minus 7. All right, this one, not going to work out so well. If you tried to put that into your calculator, you may see one of them. Oops. But it's not always going to work. Oops. It'd help if I cleared out the other one. 12x squared minus 47x plus 40. Not going to work. See, they hit somewhere in there, so we have no idea what they are. You cannot use the graph. So let's go back to our table method. If you need to, pull up your notes. And remember, use your notes. It makes it easier. If you go to in either 3-2 notes 1 or 2, I put a copy of the steps, the factoring trinomial steps. If you click on this, you draw a box, you put the first and last terms in the first and last boxes, and you multiply them. All right, so let's go back to this. First term, last term, positive 40, and we multiply them. 12 times 40, you can do it right in your calculator. And we're going to get 480. That's a big number. Now, again, you could try and list all the factors that multiply to give you 480. But let's go to our calculator steps to find those factors. And again, you've got your notes to use. We just multiplied the first and last term. So then you do the number divided by x, the number divided by x plus x, and then hit second graph and find that middle term in that third column. So again, in y1, we're going to type in 480 divided by x. In y2, we're going to type in 480 divided by x plus x. And then when we go to the table, and no, you don't have to write all this down because you might remember it. We're looking for this negative 47. All right, let's do it. So if we can't use the graphing shortcut, we go to y equals anyways. We had multiplied our first and last term, 12 times 40. And then, oops, we already did it. 480. Ignore me today. 480 divided by x. 480 divided by x plus x, and then hit second graph to check out the table, looking for this negative 47. See positives down here, negatives up here, so I'm going to go that way and see what I find. Getting closer. There it is. Negative 15, negative 32. Would have taken you a while to figure that out. And remember, now we just put those in the other boxes. Doesn't matter which one. And now we're going to put our puzzle pieces together here. Find the GCF. What goes into 12 and 15? We know they both have an x, but what goes into 12 and 15? 3. And now put it together. 3x times what gives us 12x squared? 4x. 3x times what gives me negative 15x? Negative 5. Down here, 4 times what gives me negative 32? Negative 8. And there's your two parentheses, 3x minus 8 and 4x minus 5. Those are the tricky ones, but again, you have these steps to use. Use them. Okay, you can use them on all your tests and quizzes too. All right. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll call it. So this next one, it doesn't start with a number. You only have to do the box method. You only have to do the box method if it starts with a number. You're welcome to do the box method for this. You know, first box, last box, multiply, but just type it into y equals. See what the graph looks like. It's going to work when it has just an x squared. So back to y equals we go. Clear it out. We'll do it the easy way. X squared minus 15x plus 56. Take a look at the graph. Ooh, looks like 7 and 8, which makes sense because 7 times 8 is 56, but let's take a look at the table. Arrow down. 7 and 8 are your zeros. Again, you can look at the table. But when you go to write it, remember, change the sign. So x minus 7, x minus 8, which makes sense because if you were to multiply those, -7 times -8 gives you a positive 56, and -7 plus -8 gives you a negative 15. All right, so for most of these, you can just type it into y equals. If it has a number in front like this guy over here, make sure you use your box method. All right, you're going to get some more practice on your own with this on page 6. All right, it looks like for page 6, I would like for you to try 4 through 9. If you want to do more, you can, but on page 6, you have to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, 5 out of the 6 of those you can just type into y equals and draw the graph. Don't just put the answer. This one you're going to have to do the box method. Okay, so that's your homework. Page 6, numbers 4 through 9. Or give yourself a little extra practice and try the others. Have a great day, everybody.